We're reacting to TierZoo's Are Hermit Crabs OP. Let's go. I'm excited for this, guys. Damn. Grouper fish are scary. Grouper fish are horrifying.
Beaches may seem like one of the most relaxed, casual biomes in the entirety of the game. But upon further analysis, it becomes clear that beaches are just as intense a battleground as every other biome. The fight for survival...
What the heck were those fish with legs, missing link-looking ass shit? What were those?
Never stops. And so, of course, there have been a wide variety of strategies and builds that players have come up with to give themselves the best odds. In particular, the beach's lack of plant cover makes stealth strategies less effective, which in turn creates an essential need for other ways of avoiding attacks from predators, especially aerial predators. Crustaceans in particular are at a pretty big disadvantage, as they don't have the best terrestrial movement speed and don't fare very well in single.
All these beach videos just look like a house party where like several different friend groups were invited and they're all having to interact with each other even though they don't know each other and don't really know what to do. It's really weird. I don't think we've ever seen so many different animals interacting all at the same time in any of the other TierZoo videos.
Single combat against birds. However, there is one build that has developed a unique strategy to give itself better survival odds: the hermit crab.
Let's go!
So, crabs as a whole aren't all that powerful. In fact, because of their extremely low skill floor, they're a bit of a noob trap, which is why you see so many cases of players speccing their characters into the exact same set of abilities, without ever actually becoming a dominant meta threat. Still, crab-like builds do tend to have decent base stats, particularly in the realm of defense and power. So with that in mind, I
just love that whenever you watch crabs moving in a video, they look like gym bros, don't they? That can't turn their necks really that well. They're like the friendliest gym bros that will always like help you with your really shitty max bench press reps. They'll spot you gladly. Meanwhile, they're over there repping like 3 plates, but they're still really kind to you, you know?
You might be surprised to learn that hermit crabs are well below the norm in both of these areas.
Really?
Compared to similarly sized crustaceans, their crushing vice grip attack is nothing special, a little on the weak side in fact. And while most crustaceans have a tough, calcified exoskeleton that functions as sturdy armor against a variety of attacks, hermit crabs are one of the few crustacean builds with a very obvious, unarmored weak point that can be attacked for massive damage.
Yeah, that big old booty.
However, as you might have guessed, simply looking at the hermit crab's base stats is a bit misleading. The hermit crab's signature ability, Armor Scavenge, more than makes up for this weakness, as it allows the hermit crab to significantly boost its stats to levels that would be otherwise unattainable.
I feel like they are the white equipment deck version in the... like, if they were a Magic the Gathering deck, they would have to be a white equipment deck, right?
The stat this ability's effects are most concentrated in is defense.
Holy crap.
While the hermit crab's defense stat is one of the lowest in the game when unequipped, as long as they've managed to secure a nice shell, their defense jumps to one of the highest in the game, essentially matching the stats of the shell's original owner. The most desirable shells are those of snails, though clam and scallop shells can also do the job. As long as the hermit crab has found a shell to equip, it can block most attacks with ease. Normally, defense stats this high would require extreme investment of evolution points, and would necessitate some serious min-maxing in order to be viable. However, the hermit crab is able to maintain pretty well-rounded stats through the use of this ability. It's not just defense that can be buffed via the Armor Scavenge ability though. The wide selection of patterns and coloration available among different shells means that a hermit crab can pick and choose what sorts of environments they would like to receive a stealth bonus in. Smooth, lightly colored shells will offer bonus camouflage on the beach.
That's so
while the
cool.
darker, more jagged shells will offer better camo in reefs. Swapping between shells isn't the only way hermit crabs can augment their stats to fit their playstyle though. The shells themselves can be augmented to boost certain stats even further.
These legit are the closest things we have to like RuneScape players IRL. This is so cool.
One particularly advanced technique is equipping sea anemones to the surface of the shell, allowing the hermit crab to deal venom damage on contact. This is important because the hermit crab's basic attacks tend to be pretty mediocre on their own.
That's crazy.
This isn't universally true, as the coconut crab, a variation of the hermit crab build, packs one of the strongest crushing grips in the entire game.
That's a
strong
big
enough,
boy.
in fact, that coconut crabs actually drop the Armor Scavenge ability once they reach size big enough to rely solely on their claws for defense. However, this is an exception, and also something coconut crabs only unlock at high levels.
Guys, this just looks like a spider to me. Like a devastatingly strong spider, right?
Before that, their game plan is identical to regular hermit crabs, meaning these absolute powerhouses still rely on the armor scavenge ability in order to maintain meta relevancy.
What a behemoth!
Upgrading the hermit crab stats with good shells and add-ons can make or break the viability of the hermit crab build. Unfortunately, securing a proper shell is becoming more and more difficult in the current meta. In part, this is due to the acidification of the ocean, which is a huge nerf to the viability of snails because it causes their shells to partially dissolve. And with less players spawning in as snails, this in turn means more competition for their shell drops. But on top of this, choosing a good shell is getting harder due to an influx of plastic garbage polluting all of the best looting areas.
That's so
Now,
sad.
while hermit crabs are adaptable, and in some cases can even turn this into a win, plastic shells simply are inferior to the calcium shells dropped by defeated gastropods. But when the resource pool is constantly diluted with these low-quality drops, it's hard for builds with low intelligence like the hermit crab to consistently separate shell from trash. Ultimately, this is not a problem the hermit crab mains should be subjected to. And to be honest, compared to other beach-dwelling builds, hermit crabs have it pretty good. The abundance of garbage on beaches can be
Aw, that bird. Aw, guys. Aw.
hugely damaging to less adaptable builds, and something needs to be done. This is why I joined Team C's, an initiative started by some of the best creators
Let's
on
go!
Hermit. Our goal is to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean, and to do that, we need your help. It's quite simple, really. Each dollar donated equates to 1 pound of trash deleted from these biomes, which is quite a lot of trash when you think about it.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's like 50 water bottles.
That's insane that they were able to get that much for $1.
There's a link in the description of this video that you can click on to either donate or read more about the plan's specifics. But you can also just tap this fancy new donate button if you're trying to speedrun your conservation efforts. TierZoo will also be donating.
It does feel like when Mr. Beast and Mark Rober team up, it does feel like they are like speedrunning environmentalism, doesn't it?
So I hope you'll join me in giving hermit crabs
That's
as well as
awesome. That was really cool. What's their goal at right now? Damn! They're at 16 million! Guys, we're at 16 million out of 30 million. That's amazing. That's so cool.